Hey guys, welcome back to our channel, Plots with a Twist, where we discuss books, amongst other things, and happy Black History Month.
Black History Month.
Yeah, got my Black History shirt from Target. You should go get some. They got a whole bunch this year.
I'm black in my skin, so that's my representation.
True. Well, we was trying to catch up on some content, but schedule, hey, we're here though. So we're back at our wrap up, but this month we're going to be really good and going forward and trying to plan everything out so we can get the videos to you all. So yeah, we're going to do our wrap up for January, and we are going to do our TBR for February. So let's get into it.
How many did you read this month?
I only read 4.
Oh, that's good.
So
Not as good as me, but still good. Okay, so I'll start, I guess. Okay, so first book I read for the month of January was All Her Little Secrets by Wanda M. Morris.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it. I think I talked a little bit about it in our last
This is my first time I ever heard about it.
You did hear about this book.
I ain't heard about that book.
Okay, so in this book, this is about
excuse the background noise, y'all. It's Littles running around.
Okay, so this follows Elise Littlejohn, and she it takes place in Atlanta. So they be talking about like all the like Conyers and this and that, and like places like we know Lenox and stuff. So anyway, it follows Elise Littlejohn, and she is a Ivy League degree lawyer, and she's working for this she's a corporate attorney for this company. Child, the book opens up. She goes to meet her boss, who she has a little something going on with, a white man. Elise Littlejohn's black, and he is dead in his office. And so from there, it just goes on to this mystery of kind of who has killed this man. Was it a suicide? Did he kill himself? What's going on with this company? And what are these secrets that Elise Littlejohn like has? Like she just has a lot of secrets that she has kept to herself, and the people that she works with doesn't really know who she is, and her family, All Her Little Secrets. And so yeah, it just follows that, and you kind of just kind of like a sinister little story. Not really so much a whodunit, but just kind of like a background story of her past mixed with what's going on right now with the company and this murder that happened. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was cute. It was cool for what it was. The only thing I will say that I disliked about it, I felt like it kind of dragged a little bit. I feel like I'll say that a lot, but it did drag a little bit to a point where I was like, okay, like what's happening? Like who did it already? But other than that, I enjoyed it. It was cute to get me back into reading for the new year. So it had popped up on like my TikTok or something. I was like, let me read this.
Okay, I wrote that down. I might read it. Well, okay, so I feel like January was like my month of sequels or whatnot, because I read a lot of sequels. Okay. So first and foremost, I read The Atlas Paradox by Olivie Blake. So I read the Atlas 6 last year. And so this is the second installment of the series. I believe there's going to be 3, if I'm not mistaken, but it may be 4. I have no idea. I don't kind of go ahead and be like, oh, let me see how many, like, if it comes out, I'll see it and be like, oh, okay. So this book pretty much picks up where the first one left off. So the original or the first one is the Atlas 6 meridians, or really highly trained, highly powerful wizards, whatever you want to call them, magicians. They are selected to enter this secret society called I can't remember. And pretty much at the end of their first year, they're supposed to, only 5 of them are initiated. And so the first one kind of goes into them coming together, what their abilities are, them discovering their abilities and having the opportunity to kind of hone in on them that first year, and ultimately what happens for 5 to get to the next point. And so this one is the 5. They've been initiated, and ultimately one of the ones that wasn't initiated, she's missing. And so they are all kind of individually thinking about ways to either get her back or what her importance is to them. And while, you know, Atlas himself, so Atlas is like their caregiver or whatever. He's like, whatever. He has his own sinister things that he was kind of trying to use them for in the first one. And so that kind of comes a little bit more out in the second one. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's the best way to describe it.
I never heard of that.
Atlas 6?
Oh, was that a show or something?
Okay. Anywho, but okay. So what I did like that it was kind of uncovering a little bit more about each of the characters, kind of getting a little bit more into their background, into their motivations, and ultimately what they plan to do going forward, because after their first year and after their initiation, they're supposed to stay a year. And then from there, they're supposed to have all these doors are supposed to open for all this like acclaim and high ranking jobs and things like that. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of interesting to see, you know, them kind of accept that, hey, we've been initiated, and what does that mean for us? I like, of course, magic. So I like still reading about that, still seeing how their powers kind of come into play. And ultimately, some of them are discovering new aspects of their power. So those are the things I enjoyed. But this one I did not like as much as the first one. It felt, I took notes. It felt a bit regressive. Like the first one, they weren't super likable characters, but they kind of built up and like, oh, they came together and this motley crew of folks that, you know, are being used for different purposes. But this one is like, first of all, they all separated. They all kind of like just went their own way. So it kind of felt like, what is all that stuff they did in the first one? Right. Mm-hmm. And then them themselves kind of developed and grew in that time. And then basically they all became like selfish, self-serving. And they just became back unlikable. And it was like, none of them, maybe one person, maybe two of them redeemed, you know, themselves throughout, but most of them just became like, why am I reading this? Mm-hmm. And so, you know how you have people who talk and use big words, but they don't seem like they know what they mean? That's what the book felt like. It was like a lot of talking and a lot of like bold ideas, but like, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. So I didn't know what was going on. It just didn't feel like it was progressing the story along. And ultimately, like looking at the plot, nothing actually happened. Mm-hmm. It was a whole bunch of talking. Like a whole bunch of talking. Mm-hmm. So it was just lacking. I mean, I'm still going to read the next one, but I'm not excited about it.
You're just gonna read that out of like
now that I'm here.
Yeah. Okay, so next book I read, Kristen's gonna be so proud of me, and that is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, y'all. I finally read the second book. I'm going to read the third one. I don't know when, but probably another year.
Okay.
Since it took me a whole year to read this one,
right.
A couple years actually. But okay, so if you're not familiar, let me tell y'all.
Okay.
Harry Potter in the second installment.
Happy Potter.
It's his Harry Potter. This is his second year at Hogwarts. And what did I say? Oh, and at Hogwarts, he gets a warning from Dobby. Dobby pulls up and is like, listen, you don't need to go back to school. Like, it's just not a cool thing. Like, you don't need to go. And Harry's like, no, I have to go. Like, I'm not staying here with my parents that make me live in the closet, or his aunt and uncle, whatever. Yeah. So, child, he don't listen to Dobby. He goes back to school, and turns out somebody at the school is turning the students into stone, and it's just this whole thing. And of course, it's up to Harry Potter and his friends Hermione and Ron to figure out what's going on, because they just always in the middle of stuff. So, yeah, and in that they kind of like find out some history about what's the guy with the hair, the big guy.
What's his name? Oh, Hagrid.
Yeah, like he had some stuff going on. They find out like why he was banished way back when, and it's just a lot going on. So, yeah, Harry Potter. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I did. I feel like, you know, it's the second one, so it's getting more into. I feel like I like the first one better, but only I think because you got to really feel for Harry in the first one, like you know, his parents passing away, and now he gotta go live with these people that are basically like low-key child abusing him. So it's like kind of like it's kind of a little sad, a little sentimental. But in this one, it's kind of like, okay, Harry is his life is looking up. He has something to look forward to. He has friends and a community at Hogwarts, and so I liked it. And the whole turning students into stone. Of course, y'all know Harry gonna figure it out. He always figures stuff out. So
yep. Okay.
Excuse me. And then what did I look? I said it's nothing to dislike, just ready for more drama to unfold.
Yeah,
in the next one. So
it's
that's
gonna be it's gonna be that. Oh, so, yeah. I'm excited for you.
Oh wow! I know. Now I'm reading them 20 years later.
Right.
These books. I feel like it's been 20 years.
20 years, yeah, at least. Okay. Well, good job. Read the third one next month.
I may. Let me see if it's available now.
Okay. All right. Well, speaking of more fantasy.
That's all my anticipated.
You
read it already?
Yeah. You didn't even read the first one. This is a sequel.
Oh, I just thought it was a new book. What's the first one?
The Ninth House. So I read the sequel to The Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I read Hellbent. What was wrong with it?
I just didn't finish in time. That's when I was struggling to read physical books.
Okay, so I read Hellbent. So that picks up again, another sequel. Picks up shortly after the events of the first book. So the first book, again, just a reminder, it focuses on Alex Stern. She is kind of an outcast. She's had a troublesome past, but she gets this invitation to come to Yale to be a student, but also work for the Leigh organization or society, which is the Ninth House, which helps maintain and balance and watch the other 8 societies in their magical, exports, because different houses do different things. Like
this is like when they be on the campus, like
like Book of Script, they play with like dead stuff, and then someone else play with like, I don't know, life or something. I don't know, but pretty much so events happen in that book where her mentor goes missing. He's in hell. I mean, so not to spoil it, but I mean, we're talking about the next one now. So now Alex is in her sophomore year, I believe, and so she is back and she's kind of taken over her mentor's duties. So they have like code or office names. That's their, like, she was Dante her first year because she was the trainee, and he was Virgil, and so now she steps into Virgil because he's gone, and then she's working with Oculus, who is like the research expert named Dawes, and so they're kind of working together to kind of figure out a way to get him back out of hell, while also trying to keep eyes away from Leigh and maintain just some normalcy in regards to what their true intentions are when it comes to trying to do some unauthorized magic to get him back. And so it just follows Alex as she goes through that and kind of questions just her abilities, and even discovers more about her abilities. From the first one, she can see dead people without doing whatever elixir they have to use. She can just see them, they can enter her, and she's just figuring out what her abilities are and what they actually mean for, the purpose of what she's trying to complete and going into hell and getting her friend back. So yeah, but their attempts in trying to get to hell just leads to other things happening. Of course, it wouldn't be a Leigh Bardugo book if things didn't happen. So, all right, so I love this one. So I feel like the first one, it was a little choppy. It was good, but it was a little choppy because it was like she was trying to establish facts. You could tell she is used to having a whole immersive world of fantasy, whereas this is so much, kind of teetering the balance of fantasy in real life. She was drawing on her inspiration from her being a student at Yale and all that. So it was kind of like a little clunky in the first one. It was still, like I said, it was still good, but this one you could tell she found her flow. It definitely the pacing was a lot better, a lot smoother, very kind of high charge, very exciting. I just think she's like a magnetic writer. You just get drawn in. So I just really enjoyed just the high stakes of everything and just the ups and downs of what Alex and her friends were going through. And it was just a very interesting story. Like she brought the intrigue and interest back. This, like, I don't know. like I said, I like this one more than the first one. I guess I would have wanted to. So what I don't like that she does, and she did this in King of Scars, is that, you know, she does have reminders. Yeah. She does have reminders of previous events, but sometimes you kind of want to know a little bit, like, because for a good minute, I didn't remember what was in the ninth house.
Yeah.
And she just kind of keeps going. And of course, you know, ideally you want it to be close and whatnot, but it wasn't close for me. So I had to struggle a little bit to remember events, but it does come together. So it's not like super off-putting, but, you know, it would be helpful. Yeah. And that's it.
Okay, so next one on my list is one that Krista has talked about a lot. So, and she loved, and I loved it too. I ended up liking it in the end. And that is Tomorrow, and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so y'all should know if you watched our previous videos. It's about two friends, Sadie and Sam, and it starts off with Sam spotting Sadie in like a train station in New York. He recognizes her as his old childhood friend that he had stopped talking to a long time ago. I feel like they was friends when they was 10, 11. Mm-hmm. And at this point where they're meeting back up, they're in their early 20s, I believe.
Yeah.
And so they meet up with each other, and she gives he spots her. They have a little conversation, kind of catch up. And Sadie gives him a game to go home and play, and it kind of just kicks off from there. So the whole book is based on their friendships and this game, them gaming, being gamers, and building a gaming company and all this stuff. And there's a lot of, so they have a relationship, they build a business together, and it goes over. I say the next 30 years of their lives. It goes from when they're, like I said, you get the backstory of when they were children and why they stopped speaking to each other, all the way up until, college age, when they start building these games together, up until, they are adults and have children and all that type of stuff. What did I write? It says you get a glimpse into a relationship and how it unfolds through ambitions, love, and betrayal.
Ooh.
Because there's a little bit of all of that in there. My favorite character was Mark.
Yeah, I think that's everybody's favorite character.
I know. Mark was just so...
He's the only likable one.
Yes. I had text Tristan in the middle of reading the book, and I'm like, I don't like Sadie or Sam. They're terrible people.
She said, these characters are horrible. I was like, I told you.
And I just feel like, and it wasn't a point. I feel like that was done on purpose. You weren't supposed to really like them. This is just, that's life. You don't... I don't know. People can just be people, and not that they were just horrible people, but they just weren't if I knew them in real life, we would not be friends, type thing. Mm-hmm. So I enjoy. This is one of the rare moments where I kind of like that I didn't like the characters, because I feel like that made you more, when it got to the end of their story, it kind of made you more invested into how things ended up happening for them, because you don't really feel like they deserve a happily ever after, but it's also you still. You kind of empathize with why they are the way they are, or why they act the way they act. So, I feel that was the only thing I dislike. It wasn't a huge deal, but overall, I just really, really enjoyed it. It was worth the hype, because I feel like a lot of people did hype the book up or whatever, including Kristen. It was good. It was good though. It was good. I feel like it was. There was a part in the end. I forget where it was, but I feel like I was teared up a little bit, towards the end, when they were talking about their friendship, and just when Sam, not kind of spoiler, but not. You should have read it already by now. But when he was talking about why they never fell in, why they never had a relationship, a romantic relationship with each other. And I thought that was very I love that they didn't have a romantic relationship. It was just really a story about friendship and just what comes with that and stuff in relationships. So yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay. So not a sequel, but a prequel. So I read.
I finally read it.
Well, this is the prequel.
I know, but I feel like you've been talking about that for a while. It just came out or something?
Not too long ago.
Oh, okay.
So this is The First to Die at the End by Adam Silvera. So again, a prequel to They Both Die at the End. So this one goes to the beginning of the technology that is launched that eventually, of course, is used in They Both Die at the End, where it tells people they're going to die, or the day that they're going to die. So what is it called? Deathcast. So pretty much everyone has like their own thoughts and opinions about the launch of this technology. There's death cults, there's, you know, people who think the world's in it. So it's a lot of uproar around the introduction of this. And so, yeah, it just kind of goes into that and what this technology means for society, but it focuses in on two characters, Valentino and Orion. So Orion, he has a heart condition where pretty much every day he feels like dying. So he's looking forward to this technology so he can know to like rest easy on that particular day. Or, you know, he can kind of, he's just looking for the benefits, forward to the benefits that the technology will provide him. Valentino is hot stuff. He just moved to New York and is an aspiring model and really not thinking about the Deathcast technology, but is touched when he starts to hear people's story, because people start to talk about, like, he goes to an event where people are talking about, you know, what this technology means for them. And so, of course, it wouldn't be an Adam Silvera book or a They Die at the End prequel if it wasn't some type of connection. So Valentino ends up meeting Orion, and pretty much at midnight, the technology is launched, and that Valentino is the very first Deathcaster, or not Deathcaster, but they call them Deckers, Decker to receive a call. So basically, Orion feels urged to help Valentino live out his last day. And because Orion has this heart condition, Valentino is like, well, you know, I'll give you my heart so you can live. So it's kind of like, you know, they go through this day, living their last day, kind of similar to the first one, and just feeling and building a bond and a connection, and ultimately, just having a beautiful last day together. I do like that the title kind of foreshadows what'll happen, so you kind of know what to expect. And then, as well as, I like the connections that he typically creates. Of course, I think Adam Silvera himself is LGBTQ, so he typically has, you know, some type of romance that is, you know, queer themed. And so yeah, of course they spark a little connection, you know. But okay, so I did really enjoy the story. I love the way it tugs at your heart. I just loved how it had little cameos, surprisingly, from the characters that are going to be in or later in, but prequel, whatever, y'all know what I mean. And they both die at the end. They're young boys, but somehow Valentino and Orion kind of encounter them in different settings and whatnot. And it just really was a nice, heartwarming story. The thing I didn't like is it's super depressing. It's super depressing. Like, the whole time it's like, since you're gonna die. And I'm like, Lord, can y'all stop reminding me? Like, so it is a kind of challenging book. It is very kind of heavy with the death. And if you're not comfortable with that, I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, it's a little bit more, to me, a little bit more depressing than They Both Die at the End, because I guess there's a sense of whether this technology will work. So there's still doubt, you know, whereas in They Both Die at the End, they both accepted their fate. And it's kind of like, that's in the background. Now let's have this day together. So it's a little bit different feeling and vibe because of that. So that's why I say it's a little bit more depressing to me, even though I already read a book where both of the characters were like, we're going to die, you know. Right. So, but overall, pretty cute for a prequel.
All right, so the next one I read is How to Not Drown in a Glass of Water by Angie Cruz. She's done it again, y'all.
Oh, wow.
Again. So y'all know we read Dominicana either last year or the year before, and by Angie Cruz, and loved everything about it. So same author. So this book follows Cara Romero, who's in her mid-50s. She's living in New York, Washington Heights. And during I didn't know that they called it the Great Recession, like in 2008 when all the stuff happened. I'm like, y'all, we just done been through all at this point. But yeah, so she's living through the Great Recession in about 2008. She has lost her job. She's been working in a factory. She lost her job. And the book follows her as she is going to meet with someone at doing unemployment interview so that she can receive, you know, unemployment benefits for another year. And she it's a program that they had. And so the book is in 12 chapters, and the 12 chapters are it's how the format is Kara speaking to the person that's interviewing her for the unemployment benefits. So literally, like when you're reading the book, it's like she's talking to the interviewer. And so, you know, she's supposed to be talking about jobs and finding jobs, but Kara, she doesn't mention that. She want to talk about her life and what's been going on and her family and just how she got to where she is. But, you know, she's older. You know how older people be. They just want to talk and stuff. And she's from the Dominican Republic. And, yeah, it just follows, like, her life. It goes from, you know, how she lost her job and then how that has had an effect on her her family, the other tenants in her job. You know, it goes to gentrification and like what's going on in the city at the time and what's still going on. And yeah, it was just so good. Like, I know I'm probably hyping it up now, but it was really, really good. It was short, it was sweet, and it just got to the point. And I feel like there were times where Kara, she was unlike when you like, girl, like, why are you doing that? Like, and then there were times like she's gonna make you laugh because she just is seemingly very blunt and just, you know, I don't know, y'all. Just read it. It was just the best thing I've read all year.
Okay.
Which is only a month into the year. But yeah, I just really, really enjoyed it. Y'all know I love books where New York is the background. So it was just really nice to read. And the format that she put it in made it that much more enjoyable too. Because of the interview, like, little process or whatever. And it just made me laugh and made me cry, like, all the things. Like, so, it was just good. Read it.
Okay. All right. Well, the last book I read, that was 5 for you already?
No. I got one more.
So, the last book I read for January, again, another sequel. See? January was the month of sequels.
Oh, yeah.
I read It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover.
They canceling her channel. You seen that? I'm like, not when I just got into her. But I can see why, though.
Yeah, okay. So, everyone should, hopefully, ideally know who Colleen Hoover is, which I can't even say because I knew, I was aware of her last year and probably the year before because I had seen her books, but like Asia didn't know who she was till she was like, press play.
Yeah. So, mind you, Kristen had already told me about Verity, but I didn't even put it together that I was the same person.
So, but everyone, you know, who actually keeps up with books, most people know who she is and all her books and know It Ends With Us. So, It Starts With Us is the sequel to It Ends With Us. So, we catch back up with Lily. Lily, this is a year, I think, after, or it picks back up where the epilogue ended. So, I think in the epilogue, it's like a year after events and she runs into Rao. I mean, not Rao. Rao is her ex-husband. She runs into Atlas in the street and they have a brief conversation and she goes to work and he goes to work. So it picks back up like shortly after that conversation. And pretty much, so Lily is dealing with, you know, being an ex-wife to her ex-husband, Rao. So they have a complicated situation. And if you haven't read the first one, I'm sorry, but like they had a domestic type situation where Lily, from her past, knew that wasn't something she was going to deal with and ultimately decided to end the relationship. But she ended up finding out she's pregnant. So now she has their daughter and they're trying to navigate co-parenting in a space where Lily doesn't trust Raul and ultimately Raul is like, this is just a break. Like he's not taking the divorce actually seriously. So they're trying to navigate that. Meanwhile, Atlas, he's has his old flame back. You know, they were high school sweethearts, and he knows that where she is. He knows that she's now single, and ultimately, he's like, I got to get my girl. I got to get my girl. I'm gonna do everything I can to get my girl. But that already, of course, complicates the situation because Raul blames Atlas for a lot of things that transpired in his relationship with Lily. And so they're just navigating that whole dynamic. But meanwhile, Raul, I keep saying Raul, Atlas. So it switches perspectives between Lily and Atlas. And Atlas is now, because it's like focusing on him a little bit more, you're learning a little bit about his life. And ultimately, he's dealing with some things from his past as well that comes up while also wanting to have this thing with Lily and trying his best to take it slow, but he knows that's his person. And same with Lily, she's like, I know Atlas is my person, but Rao gonna get mad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what the book goes into, just that whole dynamic and them navigating through now their new circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
So I did like catching up with the crew, catching up with everyone. I did like, Lily, hearing about how Lily's handling her situation. Of course, it's a romance, so you kind of see and get those tingles and yay, Lily and Atlas. And so I just like hearing about that and just really see a good approach to how people may navigate through that type of situation. Of course, it comes with challenges. And of course, this is fictionalized, so it's a lot more complicated than what is presented in the book. But I just like to see and hear and read about that a little bit. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was still kind of like, traditional Colleen Hoover. She's going to say the things that keeps you drawn in and, have an interesting story. What I dislike, though, one, the story progressed a little too fast for me, especially Lily and Atlas' relationship. Like, I get it. They were high school sweethearts. And I get it. This isn't a whole bunch of years. Like, they're not in their 30s. Like, they're still in their 20s, I believe. And unless they're, like, in the beginning. I don't know. But either way, it's not a huge amount of time compared to some other books where I'm like, oh, they're catching up with their high school sweetheart. So I get it. Like, that dynamic immediately picks back up. But, like, y'all gotta know what happened. Like, what happened to within the past 5 years? Like, what you mean? Like, it was not a lot of development within their relationship that I would have liked to see. I get it. Like, they kind of just snapped back into place, but I wanted to see it grow a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And then on what I really didn't like, I don't know. Did the controversy about her come out before this was? I don't know.
I think it came out after this book came out.
This felt very much self-help book. Like,
for her.
So it was kind of like, say for instance, Lily was talking about Rao's anger. Mm-hmm. I know that, I have to sit with myself and I know that I'm not the cause. It took me a minute to figure out I'm not the cause. Here's a list I made. Women can make lists to help them, da 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 da. Like, it was like,
yeah, kind of like, like, girl, it's a novel. I don't need that.
Right. Or I know the breakdown of his, like, it's like, very much ladled with like therapy things, but Lily herself, it would have probably aided that type of storytelling if Lily herself was in therapy, or Rao was in therapy, or Atlas was in therapy. I mean, Atlas had like a therapist, but it ended up being like a little boy that he would just vent to. But anywho,
Colleen, please.
But yeah, it was just very much like, girl, this is okay. I get it. You're walking through her thought process, but it feels very much like it's speaking to women in that situation. And
that's funny.
This is how your anger or his anger should never warrant, him putting his hands on. It's like,
okay, girl.
If you said that one sentence, okay, but she was happy. She had paragraphs of like this self-helpy type. Again, kudos, and cool for folks who might need it. But I mean, and that might sound, bad, but it's just because it's a fiction book. I didn't particularly need that much of it. Let's just say that. So yeah, when you read it, you'll see.
Okay. Last book I read was Before I Let Go by Kennedy Bryan. It finally came available for me, and I read it, y'all. It was spicy.
I told you.
So, mind you, I'm listening to it at work, and I'm doing people now, and I'm like, well, I hope nobody can hear this. Like, I hope it's not loud, because I just felt so like, oh, why am I listening to this in public?
On my and
I was like, okay. But yeah, so it follows, I forgot their names already.
See, I did Yasmin and Josiah.
Now I can remember. They are divorced, but they own a business together, have 2 kids. And yeah, they're divorced after going through like a traumatic, losing some people in their family, and their marriage didn't survive that. So they are co-parenting and running a business together, but still have lingering feelings for each other. Like, they were just so in love, and the last couple that people thought would break up. But, here they are, a couple, I want to say 2 years after the divorce, and they're trying to, maneuver, maintain their relationship and their business. And basically, like, the feelings start coming back up between the both of them. But Josiah is very just like heartbroken and just don't know how he can like trust her again type thing, because Yasmin is the one who wanted the divorce. And yeah, he's kind of like got his guard up with her, but also is very much jealous and stuff when she starts dating other people. He starts dating somebody. And yeah, so they just like it kind of just goes into their relationship and how, you know, they kind of fall back in love with each other basically after being divorced for a few years. So Kristen already talked about it, so I don't have to say too much. But I enjoyed it. It was very spicy, very romance novel, very yeah, it was good. Good writing. I feel like I'd never heard of Kennedy Ryan, but then I was looking up all her. She got so
like
many
10,000
books.
books.
Like,
I looked at that the other day.
Colleen, who? Let me get with Kennedy and see
Right.
like what's going on. So yeah, I was just like, oh, this is actually pretty good. The only thing I didn't like was what did I like? I didn't like when Josiah started dating somebody else, and not to give it away, like who he started dating. But I'm just like, that's why would
messy.
you?
Yeah.
Men just be, and I don't know, that's like a man thing.
Like, not think about it.
Watching, but like, why would you do that so close to home? Like, that wasn't good. And it didn't like end up blowing up or anything, but it was still just like,
why you even do it?
Yeah. So yeah, but that was the only thing that I was just like, I could have dealt without that. They could have did something else, but I guess it made sense for like, you know, spicing up the story. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's because when you look at the book, it says Skyland #1, so I'm thinking like it's gonna be a multiple series type thing, and I'm here for it. Can't wait to read the next one, and I'm gonna have to check out some more Kennedy Ryan books because I'm like, girl, where you been?
Look like she got some dark hair, green
I
eyes.
know. Like, I was like, okay. She just dabbling in everything.
All right. Well, that's our picks for or reads for January. Mm-hmm. So let's get into what we'll be reading for February. Okay. So of course it's Black History Month, but not ironically, I don't really have that many Black books. Typically, I try to read mostly Black authors, but every year it never fails that I get some, you know, majority writers in there. And so, yeah. So I'll start. How many books you got?
I just put 3 on the list, and I thought of another one while we
I got 5 in mind, but yeah, I started with 3 too. So let's start. So first, it's Honey and Spice. I'm gonna go ahead and read that. Bolu, Babalola. Asia been telling me to read this book, and I had intentions to read it multiple times. It just kept falling off the radar. So I'm gonna press play today. Today, I'm gonna do it.
Okay, so on my list, I have this book called I got books, y'all. Yerba Bueno by Nina Lacour, whatever. I started reading a little bit. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. It's probably not gonna make the cut at the end of it, only because it's getting a little boring. I don't know if I'm just not getting into it. But yeah, I saw it on like somebody else's list, and then I went to the library to pick up How to Not Drown in a Glass of Water because it said it was ready, and I just seen this on the shelf, and I was like, oh, let me get that too. It looks short, and I haven't seen it floating around. So yeah, let's see.
All right, so I'm going to read How to Not Drown in a Glass of Water by Angie Cruz. So, yes, not Black, but she's, you know, Latina.
Of color.
A woman of color.
Of color. It sounds like a color.
Right, she's of color. So, yeah, Asia just talked about it. So, yeah, and we really enjoyed the Menacana. So, was definitely trying to check out more about her. So,
yeah. I think she has another book I
saw.
Those 2. I'm going to have to check that out. Okay, so I do have a Black author, and rest in peace to him. He died recently, I think, like last year. Or
I was about to say, you nasty, but I don't want to talk about him like that now.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess that's what his books are.
The Business of Lovers. Why do I have Friends and Lovers on my thing? Like, that's not what this is called. But by Jerome Dickey. I believe this is his latest. This author my aunt had all up and through her bookshelves when I was growing up. I don't think I've ever read anything by him though, but I've been seeing this floating around book talk. And I wanted to read it, and they had this at the library. So I said, let me get this. So this, I've been waiting for this for a while, so it just became available, and ultimately, yes, it's not a Black author, but I have never I have never read any of her books, and she's been on my list for some time, so I'm like, I see.
So I'm like, might as well. So this is Mad Honey by Jodi Picoult.
I have a book
I have a few of hers. I do have some of her books that I think I bought from the book sale, but I have a few of her books also on my list, and I just never read any of her books. And Mad Honey is her latest. I've seen it circulating about a mother. A mother and her son. They moved to a new city, and pretty much they meet this other young girl who moves to the city too. So the son and the girl start dating, but next thing you know, the girl is dead and her son is accused. So I'm gonna put it. It's kind of like I guess it's given what's that book that was told backwards?
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't think of the name, but yeah.
Or she was going backwards. Yeah. But it sounded like that. But like I guess the interesting part is that the mother was escaping like a domestic situation. So it's like, did he pick up little hat? So yeah, we'll see. But I heard it was really good. So definitely wanted to check it out.
Okay, so next on my list is Babble by R.F Kuang. Kristen read it because I told her to read it, but it just became available for me, y'all, and I just haven't pressed play yet because I know it's like one of those like it's long and stuff. So I'm like,
girl, it's so long.
Yeah,
so long.
I need to like get my mind ready before I just dive in. So
yeah. I saw the some of the controversy after you said it
about the.
Well, people were saying not only that controversy with the review, but people were saying like it's very much in your face, like. But I didn't really I knew it was that.
Who was saying that it's in your face?
No, people were saying it was in your face, but it needed to be. Like some people were saying that, like it was very much in your face. Like
That's real
this
life.
is the colonialism, anti-colonialism book, and it's like, I mean, that's her perspective.
Exactly.
But that's what they were saying it was a little heavy-handed. I didn't think it was heavy-handed, honestly, because I really didn't know it was going to it did progress. Like it didn't start off boom, boom, boom. But maybe I was just oblivious.
Yeah.
I was just sitting there like, oh, he about to do some magic. And I'm like, oh no, it's racist.
Right.
Not as racist.
Okay, but yeah, that's on my list. I'm trying to get through that this month for the month of February. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, last, I'm gonna try to do 5, but I probably honestly it's a short month, so I'll probably get through 4. So just to mention both of these, so it's either going to be Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. Been seeing that circulating about a woman who befriends an octopus. It's giving Life of Pi. Right. That's basically what it's giving when I read the synopsis. So we'll see what that's about. Or it could be stories from the Tenants Downstairs by Sadiq.
What's that? That sounds like a
it's like a compilation of short stories from, I guess, the people all live in the same apartment building. I believe he's a Black author. And so I had seen that circulating. We'll see. So either one of those. I think I may be able to get the both though, because I'm assuming some of the books I have this month are shorter. So yeah, we'll see. But those would be my either 4th pick or 4 and 5.
If you listen to the Angie Cruz book, it's probably like 5 hours.
Yeah, I think when I pulled it up, it was like 5 hours.
Okay, so next on my list, and I just added Mad Honey because I want to see what that's giving. And I want to go ahead and read Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I want to finish it, and then I'm going to read Helmet too. So I'm going to do those. Yeah, because I had started, it wasn't like, because it was bad. I think it did kind of like drag a little bit for me in the beginning, but
you said that,
I just didn't get, I had to return.
You could tell she was getting a little bit more comfortable with like, I'm not creating the whole world.
Yeah.
I'm just,
having a little piece. But a little fantasy. But yeah, that is it for me this month.
So let us know. Let us know any thoughts on any books we mentioned here today. Yes. Let us know any books we need to be checking out.
For sure.
Let us know what you all have been reading. Like this video, subscribe, ring the bell, and we'll be back next time. Bye.